Hi, I'm Lonnie Ward. Over the past 15 years, I've worked in countries battling extreme poverty, meeting incredible people, and learning life-changing lessons. Now, I'm here to share their stories and a few of my own with you. I can't wait to take you along. In the lush northern valleys of Guatemala, surrounded by rolling green mountains, I had an experience that changed the way I viewed people. It took place in Sikaab'e, which means seek your path. This was a choice humanitarian project, and we were working on the campus near the border fence, a building that was used for teaching the public, coordinating projects, and housing visitors to the area. One day, while we were focused on our tasks, a group of 4 or 5 adolescent boys approached us on the other side of the fence. They were loud, rowdy, and demanding, swearing and asking for money. Among them, one boy no older than 12 or 13 was even smoking a cigarette, which shocked me. In this area, most children couldn't afford food, let alone cigarettes. My automatic reaction was to reprimand the boys and tell them to leave. But Olger, the Choice Country Director for Guatemala, saw things differently. Instead of shooing them away, Olger approached them calmly and asked, "Hey, what are you up to today?" Initially, the boys were unresponsive, unsure how to take his friendly tone. But as Olger continued to engage them, they slowly relaxed and started having a conversation. After some time, Olger proposed something unexpected. "Would you guys be interested in learning to play the guitar?" This was a big offer, especially in this rural area where musical instruments were rare, let alone accessible for young people. The boys were excited, and Olger told them to go home, get permission from their parents, and come back later that day. By the time the lesson was set to start, there were not just a few boys, there were 10 eager faces at the gate, waiting for their turn to learn. Olger had arranged for one of the staff, Santiago, who played the guitar, to teach them. 2 guitars were made available, one from Santiago and one that had been left behind by some volunteers. Before the lessons began, another staff member gave a simple hand-washing demonstration. These children often had little concept of hygiene, and this was an excellent opportunity to teach a necessary foundation to many of the children who would otherwise remain ignorant. The children sang songs and took turns strumming the guitars, learning how their left hands could change the pitch of the strings. Their excitement was contagious. When the lessons ended after about 30 minutes, the boys, now transformed from rowdy troublemakers to respectful, engaged students, asked if they could come back the next day. Olger agreed, and they left, already planning for the next visit. The following day, I had a thought that turned into a project. Growing up in the U.S., I remembered a time when the roads were littered with trash. People would toss their garbage out the car window without thinking. But over time, there was a push for cleaner roads through campaigns like Adopt a Highway. The roadsides were cleaned, and the people took pride in keeping the land beautiful. In Guatemala, though, trash littered the roads, a stark reminder of the challenges these communities faced. I suggested to Olger that we could use the guitar lessons as an opportunity to instill a sense of responsibility and reciprocity by having the children help clean up the area. Olger agreed, and the next day we gathered the children again for another lesson. This time, there were roughly 20 eager children waiting for us outside the gate. We had them wash their hands, and this time we made sure they left their shoes outside to keep the space clean. There was one young girl who stood out that day, a quiet presence among the group. She had arrived with a basket full of bread rolls, which she intended to sell to help support her family. But when we offered for her to join the activities of the day, I could see the struggle in her eyes, caught between her responsibility to sell the bread and the chance to participate. I pulled Olger aside and asked if it would be appropriate to buy all of her bread, not wanting to interfere with the local economy. He wholly approved of the idea, so I went ahead and bought the bread, allowing the girl to stay and join us. After another session of singing and guitar playing, we told the children that we would be cleaning up trash along the road and that there would be a surprise for everyone who helped. The children eagerly agreed to join us. We set off to collect trash among a quarter-mile stretch of road near the compound. Before we had hardly left the gate, we had already been joined by 5 or 6 other children. At first the children took the task seriously, but soon enough the inevitable happened. Some of them started goofing off, tossing trash at each other and playing around. I could feel my frustration rising. I was tempted to tell them that if they weren't going to be helpful, they should leave. But Old Hare stayed patient. He calmly encouraged them, gently steering them back on task. Looking back, I'm so glad he did. If I had lost my temper, they probably would have left and taken with them a bad impression of choice and the work we were doing. Instead, they stayed, and by the end of the day, they shared in a sense of pride and accomplishment that came from helping clean up the roads in their town. What we were able to accomplish with the help of those children was impressive. If it had been up to just Old Hare and me to pick up the trash, it would have taken all day. But with the children's help, we filled 12 garbage bags with waste in less than an hour. Not only had the efforts we made cleaned up the environment, but it helped the children to see the power that each of them had to change the world around them for the better. Once the work was finished, we returned to the compound where the cook, Carmela, had prepared a big pot of rice and some horchata for the children. She had also gathered banana leaves, washed them, and cut them into makeshift plates. The small loaves of bread I had bought earlier that morning from the young girl were each cut in half and distributed to the children. We didn't have quite enough bread, but the painters who had been working on a mural in the compound earlier that day came to the rescue, offering their own bread so that every child would be fed. Hungry and excited after their hard work, the children sat down to enjoy a meal, each one with their own plate of rice, horchata, and a piece of bread. But not everything went perfectly. One of the boys stole a piece of bread from a little girl, and she began crying. But once again, Old Hare's calm demeanor took over. He had the boy return the bread and apologize. As I stood there, watching the children enjoy their meal, Old Hare leaned over to me and said, "You know what makes me happiest today? These 26 children are going to bed with full stomachs. For most of them, that rarely happens." I was struck by this. It pained me to think that these children, who seemed so vibrant and full of energy, often went to bed without a decent meal. It was a humbling realization. Our work that day wasn't just about helping to clean up the roads. It was about offering these children something they rarely had: the opportunity to feel valued, to learn something new, and to experience the simple joy of a meal shared with others. As I reflected on the day, I couldn't help but admire Old Hare's ability to see the good in these young people. Even though they acted out at times, he recognized their potential, and because of that, we had built a sense of community and shared responsibility among the children. Old Hare's approach made a difference. These weren't just rowdy boys or delinquents. They were young men and women with potential that only could be realized if given the right guidance and encouragement. Our work that day might have seemed simple, but it was part of something much larger, helping these children see that they are important and that people care about them. By the time we finished, we had accomplished much more than just a cleaner community. We had planted seeds of hope and respect, and perhaps, most importantly, we had shown these young people that they had the power to change, to grow, and just like the name of the campus, Sikaab'e, to seek their own path. Thanks for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who'd love these stories too. To learn more or connect with me, visit lonnieward.com. Until next time, be the change.